It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio today. This is April. The month is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Yavapai College Campus Police Detective James Tobin in studio. Welcome back to studio.
Good morning, Paul. Thank you.
Last time you were here, you were with Prescott Valley Police Department.
Correct.
You have since retired.
I have retired, yep.
And moved on to a different job. And then new director of the Yavapai Family Advocacy Center, Missy Sikora, is here. But you're not that new. You've been there since last May.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Catherine Chapman snuck out the door. I didn't even know she did that. Anyways, a couple of websites for you. There's yfac.org, that's for the Family Advocacy Center. NoMore.org is something we'll be talking about today, and the phone number is 928-775-0669. Let's get right into it. What is the purpose of Sexual Assault Awareness Month? Who wants to take that one on?
My cohort will handle that one.
Okay.
Well, it's exactly what it says. You know, it's just about making sure that the community is aware that this is happening. I think a lot of people up in our area, particularly these small towns, try to say, well, that doesn't happen here. But nationally, we know it does happen. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys under the age of 18 have been sexually assaulted. Mm-hmm. It's one of the most underreported crimes and most under-supported crime victims when it does happen. So it's just about bringing awareness to that and trying to change the mindset.
Okay. I see that a lot lately. We're bringing awareness to things that we don't think happen in small town. We were talking about Scott Maybury from juvenile probation and how he's got the sex trafficking and how we didn't think that was an issue either. But lo and behold, sure, it does happen even in small town USA. It does. Now, you mentioned that these are crimes that are underreported. Why is that?
For various reasons. I mean, James may know more about that after being in law enforcement, stigmatism,
Shame. Yeah.
Yeah, there's biases built in, even the people that you go to report to, sometimes the police. You have a lot to overcome. It's an uphill battle. A lot of judgment, and we had to, and we'll get into talking about our events, but we had an event last night. There was a speak out at the end where some of the victims came up and shared their stories, and that was kind of a common theme, was that it was such a struggle for them to even report when they did. And in some cases, some of the people that spoke have never reported to law enforcement, but they shared at this event. Oh, wow. Okay. Because of all the stigma, the fear, the pressure. Mm-hmm. And so it can be a lonely road for people. So we're just trying to normalize it. It's a dark topic. Nobody likes to talk about this. We would prefer to not talk about it.
We'll have to. It's out there. It's a reality.
Got to shine a light on it.
Sure. What were you say, Missy?
I was just going to say the majority of these crimes are committed by somebody they knew.
Sure.
Right.
It could be a family member, it could be a close friend. So there's also that added stress of how this is going to affect your family and your children and your extended family, and a lot of people, believe it or not, are turn against the victim once they do report. So that's something they really have to keep in their mind as well, and it causes a lot of remorse for them if they do regret, and then they're cutting ties with people that they love that should be their support system.
Oh, that's difficult. Maybe we should jump into that before. We were going to talk about it towards the end of the show, but maybe we should jump into it earlier. I've noticed, and I think it was Flagstaff Police, I noticed the first, where it was, if somebody comes and says, okay, I was raped, I was sexually assaulted, the police have been told, okay, you have to have this attitude where you have to take it seriously. You can't pass judgment on this person and say, well, and we've talked about this before the show too, it's not, well, what were you wearing, where were you at, or any of those excuses like that. It's okay, you have the right to not be touched. People are supposed to keep their hands to themselves. So maybe we should talk about that right away. That's changed.
Yeah, there is definitely in our culture, it's human nature, I guess, some just ingrained biases about this kind of thing. So there's another campaign, Start by Believing, which yesterday April 5th was National Start by Believing Day.
Start by Believing Day.
Right.
Okay.
And I think that's what you're talking about with Flagstaff. I think they must have adopted a philosophy that we're going to give the victim the benefit of the doubt and not bring all those biases and prejudgments to the table about what happened or why it happened. And one of the things that Start by Believing has on their website is, if somebody says, well, my daughter was killed in a car crash. You don't respond by saying, well, that's what she gets for not taking public transportation or something like that. Yeah. We would never think of saying something like that.
Was she drinking and driving? Was she on drugs? Was she not seatbelted?
Yeah, we would never think of saying something like that to a crash victim, but yet we think it and we say it to sex assault victims all the time, routinely. And so we just need to kind of change that thinking a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I mean, think about what they're going through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's not always physical evidence. There's not always, I mean, a lot of times the cases do come down to he said, she said, or he said, whoever the victim and the suspect are in. So, but that doesn't make it any less true that it happened.
So you got to approach it with an open mind, hear the side of the stories, and then go from there. Yeah,
and I mean, let's not kid ourselves. There are predatory people out there who know that these cases are challenging for law enforcement. They rely on that fact, and they know the victim is going to be put through a gauntlet to even report the crime and to see the crime proceed through the criminal justice system. They rely on that. You know, so again, it's a system-wide, community-wide effort to where we need to just, I think, modify our thinking about this a little bit.
Missy, you've been there now for almost a year. So, are we seeing an increase in the sexual assault cases, a decrease? I always ask every time I have one of you guys in to find out.
It's there's more than you'd think. I don't think that we're necessarily running more than last year, but it has been kind of on a steady increase. We're certainly not decreasing. The Advocacy Center serves victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse. So anybody who's a victim of a violent or an interpersonal crime, and adult abuse, elderly abuse. So really any victim. Last year in 2016, we provided services to over 770 victims from Yavapai County, and we performed, I believe it was about 38 sexual assault exams last year for Yavapai County. So,
wow. Okay.
So those are the ones that are reported, and if some of the statistics say only 1 in 10 report.
Oh wow, that's sad.
So
that's kind of sad. 1 out of 10. That's a whole lot of people getting away.
And another thing that's a really nice improvement is in Yavapai County. For example, Prescott Valley, Prescott, and Cottonwood each now have a victim services advocate working in the department.
Oh, really?
So that's a civilian who can help a victim. Prescott Valley actually has an advocate who helps even with property crimes or frauds and things like that. Because I can tell you, as a police officer, you get a lot of cases, you get a lot of calls. You really empathize with your victims and you want to help them, but you got to move on to the next thing and the next thing, and you hate to do it, but you know you're not giving the people the attention they want to find out. When am I going to get my stuff back, or when is this guy going to go to court, or and it can be burdensome as a police officer to then double back and focus your attention back on this case from a month ago, and you have a victim services advocate who that's their job, is to help those people through that process, whether it's sex assaults or domestic violence or whatever the crime. That's a new trend, and I think that's a really good thing that's happening.
It's amazing.
That's going to be really handy.
And I hope I'm sure all the departments will move in that direction too, because that's an outstanding resource for people.
Well, we've got those groups too that show up when there's a fire, because a house fire, trauma intervention, the program, they show up and they help the folks out that are being victims of the fire, because the firefighters are working on the fire. So these kind of programs have been coming up over, I don't know, last 10, 15 years or so like that, but they've been very useful, very helpful.
And we find at the Advocacy Center that we're getting a lot of referrals from those victim advocates out of those agencies. So then, if there's a service that the the advocate with the police department can't provide, then they'll connect them with us. Or if that person needs more long-term services or needs to get involved in a support group or counseling, then they'll refer them over to us. So it's connecting our agencies a lot better as well.
It just constantly keeps happening. We got to take our first break. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Yavapai College Campus Police Detective James Tobin in studio day. Director of Yavapai Family Advocacy Center, Missy Sikora. The website is yfac.org or nomore.org. Number is 775-0669. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
The Q102.9 plays all the hits.
Yo, what's going on? This is Drizzy Drake.
Ariana Grande.
Maroon 5.
This is Rihanna.
I'm Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
Ed Sheeran.
What's up, guys? It's Justin Bieber.
You're listening to The Weeknd.
Start your day with Brian James in the morning. You'll get at least 10 songs in a row during your ride home with Julie Page.
Zach Sang Show.
Catch the Zach Sang Show weeknights 7 to midnight. And Kelly Fox weekends on your home for hit music. The Q102.9 and 104.9 in Prescott and Cottonwood.
This was me. And Mom and Dad. And my big brother Alex. And Jack. And this was the day that I learned that sandals get their name from sand. That jellyfish aren't made of jelly. That stars don't just come from the sky. That the ocean is bigger than all of us. This is the day we all got to forget that I was sick. And it changed everything. This was my wish.
I call you and say, I'm with the IRS. You owe back taxes, and if you don't pay today, you're going to jail. You can fix this by sending cash. Did you actually believe me? Too smart to fall for it? Well, last year, Americans paid $100 million to guys like me. 1 in 6 people were scammed. Can you believe it? Well, you shouldn't. I just made that up, too. You are a little gullible.
I normally wouldn't do this. That's what drove me to do it. So.
Welcome back to Countywide. Great to have you on board again. Phone number is 775-0669. Website is yfac.org or nomore.org. What's the nomore.org? Tell me a little bit about that site real quick.
Well, No More is a national organization,
okay,
which focuses attention on the crimes of sexual assault and domestic violence. And basically, again, people I'm sure are familiar with they did an ad campaign a few years ago during the Super Bowl,
okay,
with NFL players and then stars of the NBC network.
Okay,
those were very impactful PSAs that were out there, and I think that's what introduced a lot of people to that. And again, like we mentioned before, it's just about sort of getting a conversation going in communities, and people, instead of being bystanders and saying, "Well, that doesn't affect me, that doesn't affect my family." If you look around a little bit, you probably know somebody, a friend, a coworker, somebody from your church, somebody on your street who's struggling with some of these issues, and maybe there's something you can do to support them. Intervene if possible, if it's safe to do so. And it's just the idea that we shouldn't be bystanders. We should all take a stand against stuff.
No more excuses. No more boys will be boys, and that's why he did it. No more.
She was asking for it.
Those kind of things. Yeah.
Take responsibility for your actions. All right, let's start with Start by Believing Day. It was April 5th.
It's the first Wednesday of every April.
First Wednesday of every April, and you guys had an event, and we've got a second one coming up. We had one over in the Quad City area, so tell me about that and kind of what transpired there.
It was great. We had it at the Yavapai College campus. It was really nice. We had a lot of support from the local colleges over there, so Yavapai College, Prescott College, and Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. All truly supported the event, and each of those schools adopted the Start by Believing campaign for their campuses, and they're really making that a priority for them. And we had a really impactful survivor speaker who had been brutalized pretty badly, and she came and spoke, and that was really moving for the crowd. We had a speak out where we had victims from the audience who wanted to speak about their own experience or a family's experience, or even just come up and talk about their organization and the resources they provided.
That's got to make it pretty real too when that happens. You know, it's
Absolutely.
one thing to have us sit around and talk about this, and I don't think it has quite as much an impact as if you actually have someone who's gone through the entire process to talk about it.
It's not uncommon where they'll get up and say, I've never told anybody this before.
Yeah.
They're choosing to share it in public like that.
But they feel that need all of a sudden, just
Right.
and inspired to do
And
so.
support.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very warm, supportive
That's gonna be
environment, and you know, they knew they were in a safe place, so it was pretty moving. I mean, I've dealt with, you know, crimes against children and crimes for more than 20 years, and I started to cry with a couple of them. It was pretty impactful.
That's good. That's really good.
You know, and that may not be everybody's cup of tea on a Wednesday to go and have to see that and listen to that, but we know this is the third year, getting bigger every year, and we're gonna keep doing it. And yeah, I'm glad to be at Yavapai College now, and glad that they're such an enthusiastic supporter of this.
Kind of a reality check for people, I imagine.
Well,
without a doubt.
And the other piece of it, there and at the event we have upcoming is also, you know, not such a downer. It's about letting people know about the resources, and it's about, you know, having the conversations about what a healthy relationship looks like, and what
this is the other side
how
of this
things
whole
should
thing.
look.
Okay,
you know,
okay,
yeah. So
right.
you know, there's some. It's a pretty.
It's not all about the tragedy. It is about the tragedy, but there are solutions to these tragedies, and that's what.
Well, and the most inspiring thing is to see the community there and how everybody comes together and how committed the organization CCRT and all the people that we work with are committed to making changes in this area.
We really have a knack for that too in this area.
Absolutely.
I suppose so many guests come in here and sit down and say that too, that, you know, to watch the community just come together. And it really does happen a lot around here.
Yeah, I've been here to talk to you before about Matt Force activities and stuff like that. Matt Force is a substance abuse coalition, right?
Right.
So I've gone to other parts of the state, to other counties where people are like, how do you guys do what you're doing in Yavapai County? And people think that Matt Force is this monolithic thing. It's 3-4 people and 300 volunteers. Right. And other counties, you talk to them and they have 5 volunteers for the whole county. So it's about mobilizing people. We have there are people there are a lot of people with generous spirits around here, and we just need to kind of get them going in the right direction. This CCRT that we mentioned, the Community Response Team, is a coalition, just like Matt Force is a substance abuse coalition. Our coalition for CCRT is domestic violence, sexual assault. People working together, you know, sitting down, figuring it out. You know, I'm a police officer. I should have a seat at the table. I don't need to run the table, but I need to sit there with people like Missy, and we need to work together on this stuff. I can do stuff that she can't do, but she can do stuff that I can't do. But together we can do an awful lot, you know. And so it's just putting names with faces and saying, okay, and then working together, like we talked about before, to serve the public better. And I do think we do that really well in Yavapai County.
Let's take our other break. When we come back, let's talk about the next event coming up. Okay, we'll make sure we hit that for the rest of the time. Okay. So again, websites is yfac.org. That's for the Yavapai Family Advocacy Center. NoMore.org, and a phone number for the Advocacy Center is 775-0669. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
The Q102.9 plays all the hits.
Yo, what's going on? This is Drizzy Drake.
Ariana Grande.
Maroon 5.
This is Rihanna.
I'm Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
Ed Sheeran.
What's up, guys? It's Justin Bieber.
You're listening to The Weeknd.
Start your day with Brian James in the morning. You'll get at least 10 songs in a row during your ride home with Julie Page.
Zach Sang Show.
Catch the Zach Sang Show weeknights 7 to midnight. And Kelly Fox weekends on your home for hit music. The Q102.9 and 104.9 in Prescott and Cottonwood.
I didn't know where my life was going. With Wounded Warrior Project's help,
I was able to get my life back in order. I thank Wounded Warrior Project not only for helping me, but also helping veterans that I know that are dealing with the same struggles that I am. Wounded Warrior Project understood what I was going through. I'm grateful that Wounded Warrior Project helped me reestablish my life. I am living proof.
Hello, I'm Jen Cohen, host of Verde Valley TV's hit TV show, The Verde Valley Experience. On each episode, we feature local organizations, nonprofits, persons of interest, events, activities, and great local musicians. It's informative, it's entertaining, it's fun. It's the Verde Valley Experience.
We meet online, and I tell you, I'm falling in love. I have to see you in person, but I need a loan for the ticket. I really think you're the one. And I really think you're desperate. Sure enough, you sent cash and never see me again. Too smart to fall for this? Last year alone, 12 million Americans lost money this way. Can you believe it? You shouldn't. I made that up, too. Might not be as smart as you thought you were.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a couple minutes left in the program. Let's talk about the event we've got coming up this next week. What's the date for that?
April 12th.
April 12th, okay. And then what's going to be taking place there, and where is it all at? And give me all the good details. What, where, when?
The Yavapai College campus at Clarkdale. I'm sorry, I don't know the address off the top of my head, but...
I think everybody down here knows where Yavapai College is in Clarkdale.
Is it Black Hills Drive?
Black Hills Drive.
Mm-hmm.
Out on the bypass.
Beautiful campus. And there's an amphitheater in the middle. So we're going to have the event, have some speakers, some videos. Dr. Perry from the Yavapai College, the Verde campus dean will sign the proclamation, the Start by Believing proclamation, to further, emphasize that the college supports this, giving the benefit of the doubt to victims, encouraging reporting, and so forth. And then we'll conclude with a short march on the campus there from 6 to 7 on the 12th.
Okay. Just kind of quick, huh? Just an awareness. I mean, if it goes longer, it's okay if it goes longer?
Right, yeah. And we'll have tables there similar to what we did last night with
services,
community resources and services in this area.
Do we have enough?
We could always use more, but,
sure, but we do have them available.
We do a good job.
Yeah, we do. Okay. Let me ask you this. Do you guys need volunteers for the CCRT?
Maybe not volunteers so much, but if Missy mentioned the roster, people from all these different service groups and agencies, but we have some private citizens who are retired, who just want to participate. And so anybody's welcome. If you think they have something to come bring to the table, I'm sure
we have monthly meetings over at the Prescott Valley Library. We're at 90 plus members right now, so we have we average about 50 in attendance every month.
40 to 50.
More the merrier, right? I mean, always new ideas coming in.
Oh, people come in from the community and bring amazing ideas and resources, and this, or may have a connection that we didn't know about. So
you try not to waste anybody's time. Make the meetings meaningful, and then you can't just have meetings. You have to go out and do stuff like these events. And it helps to fire people up a little bit.
Okay, so again, let's real quickly do this. We got 45 seconds left. April 12th. That's next Wednesday.
Yeah, the resource tables will be set up at 5:30.
Okay, 5:30 at the Yavapai College campus, Clarkdale.
And then the actual event will start at 6.
At 6 p.m. Okay, in the evening. Okay, nice little evening thing.
Yes.
All right, very good. Missy, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Missy Sikora from Yavapai County Family Advocacy Center. James Tobin, he's been here before, but he's now with the Yavapai College campus. He's a police detective there. That's today's Countywide. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.